How's it going, true believers? It is I, Shane, and I'm here to give you my episode 1 review of Marvel's Secret Invasion. Woo, secret. Before I go any further, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of more videos like this one. And don't forget, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so hey, I think I'm a friend to Skrulls and non-Skrulls alike, so go ahead and hit that button. Yeah, the long-awaited, I believe the show was pushed back from February. I know it was delayed at least once or twice, right? And with all the Jonathan Majors, the crazy Jonathan Majors stuff going on, we don't know what's gonna happen with Loki because the Ezra Miller issue has shown that if your movie is bad and the person who's in it has been accused or charged or I guess Miller wasn't charged, but is in some type of trouble. If a movie does badly, oh no, you shouldn't have kept this person. But Jonathan Major's trial has just begun. We are talking about something totally different. And you know what? I'm probably going to cover that in another video. I do miss giving out think pieces, but it just seems like a lot of you guys don't really care about them. You like the reviews more. So let's just get down to it. What is the basis of Secret Invasion? Secret Wars should be a movie. So the original Secret Invasion comic, which, you know what? The date of that comic, or should I say the year of that comic, really does escape me. But the basis of this show is that there's a renegade group of Skrulls. They're very unhappy with not being able to have a home planet, and they're just going to take Earth. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, but no, it's actually not nuanced than that. That's literally what it is, but there's some extra pieces that need to be filled in there. Now, the original Secret Invasion, which was I knew it was in the 2000s, in 2008, 2009, it entailed the Skrulls taking over Earth, right? But they have infiltrated everywhere. I'm not just talking about political powers. I'm talking about Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four. They have infiltrated everywhere. And of course, the one person who's going to try to help solve all this is Nicholas J. Fury. The comics is the original. It's the white one, the one that looks like Knight Rider, Hasselhoff. But here in this one, it's still Nick Fury. Samuel Jackson, though, trying to figure this out. It seems that the main Skrull leader, Gravik, where's my notes here? I got so much. Gravik took exception to, Fury being very absent. After the blip, Nick Fury went into space, part of Saber, trying to make the most renowned aerospace defense against anything that's trying to come into Earth. And that's where he stayed. He didn't contact anybody, didn't contact Hill, didn't contact Talos, didn't contact Soren, didn't contact anybody. And the Skrulls were under Nick Fury's protection. They were trying to find them a way to get them integrated, get them to find another place. But with Nick being, I guess, MIA in space, a lot of things fell through. And this is actually one of the few times when we open up in a show and it just goes modern day. Because think about the movies, even Guardians, it's like 19 something, 80 something, 1990 something or other. And now we're finally here, right? We're here, modern day, we're in Moscow. And the Skrull plot here, what the Skrulls have done, is they're all over Russia. Because Russia has the most unmanned, abandoned nuclear plants, and Skrulls are immune to radiation. Who would have guessed it? But of course, these plants are not known. These are secret plants. But I envision like Skrulls going out to Chernobyl and just chilling, which we do see. Emil Clark is playing Gaia, the daughter of Talos, who in the comics is the Skrull Queen, who took the visage of Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, not the one from across the Spider-Verse. I'm talking about the OG white one who's best friends with Carol Danvers and She-Hulk. But I digress. In here, they are moving about. Apparently, we see one camp, and it's where we're looking through the eyes of this Skrull that's come there. His name's Beto, B-E-T-O, who cares? But as Guy is explaining, there's 500 people there. Now, all of them are soldiers. The soldiers go in and out, and the soldiers are the ones that keep their human forms, because apparently the longer they keep it, the less likely they're able to be identified by humans and by other Skrulls. I don't understand how that works, because Skrulls are only able to grab a person's immediate memories. Don't get it. And we actually see, I wonder if Beto is actually a spy, because he was wondering what was behind these doors. And we do see someone sneaky up top, but we don't know who was sneaky up top. Could have been him, could have been someone else. But what they do is they grab people, they call them shells. So they take the visage. Apparently all these warriors, what's your name? Warrior. They do it for Skrulls, for new Skrulls, whatever. But they put the people in the mind wipe thing that was in Captain Marvel, the thing that changed her memories. But it looks like this is just to hold them in there for a long time. These Skrulls have infiltrated terrorist groups. One in particular, the AAR, the Americans Against Russia, which very interesting choice for this show to go, all right, well, it's American terrorists going against Russia, given the current political climate that we are in. They made another interesting choice in here that I love too. I'll get to that in a minute. But in the very beginning, we have, and I love the speech that they did, I wish I could remember it word for word. I wish I remember it word for word, but it's basically saying, imagine not being able to trust anybody. You couldn't even trust the person who you've known all your life, and they're sitting right there. What if, it's trying to give you the feeling of don't trust anybody. Anybody could be anything or anyone. They could all be listening. No one could be the people that you thought you knew, right? I'm pretty sure I even wrote down that speech. Let me not skimp out on this, because if you can tell by my enthusiasm, I have certain feelings towards this show. I was talking about from Agent Prescott. Information is easily messed up. One thing says one thing, another place says another. So, a website says something, then social media says another thing. But what if these people close to us aren't really, them? What if they were someone else entirely? What if they weren't human? And we do get to see Martin Freeman's Agent Ross, in here. He's talking to him, but it wasn't him. It was a Skrull. And when this guy died, the leg break from falling off, they are not, if this is just TV 14, which that's crazy. Granted, Nick Fury said a racial slur that was commonly used against black people back in the 1970s, 1980s. Again, I will get to that in 1 second. But this whole time, I guess the feeling you want is who's a Skrull and who isn't. I promise you, I thought Maria Hill was a Skrull this entire time, but she was not. She was not. What brings Nick from space is after Talos was chasing this Skrull, and tells Maria, you gotta call him. Bad part is Talos' wife Soren, she's dead, and apparently she was killed by these people. And now Gaia's working with these folks. The interaction between them was so tense when he said, your mother's last words were to find you. And she's like, what? Yeah, she's dead. And the people you work for killed her. Now I'm still on the fence. I still think Gaia set them up, because the ending part of this movie where they're supposed to get these bags, these dirty bombs that were spray painted with infrared paint. Don't know if that's a real thing or not. They were decoys. And the bad guy, Garrick, was right there to look at Nick Fury right in the eye and smile, and then turn into Nick Fury and shoot Maria Hill, who is dead at the end of this. Now, first issue of Secret War, Maria Hill did die, and it was an LMD. Is she an LMD? Or is the MCU gonna actually make Kobe Smulders dead? I would think that's a big waste. And it's also interesting that this mirrors that because as I literally found this out 5 minutes after watching the show, which by the way was first episode was 55 minutes long. 52 if you include credit if you don't include credits. Apparently Marvel told the director, said, don't read the comics. This is different, which initially I was like, why would you tell him that? But now I'm like, it makes sense because you cannot have all of the things that happen in the comics actually happen in here. It would cost too much, and it would just be. This is something you got to set up for a long time. Like Secret Invasion should technically be an Avengers level movie, in my opinion, since it involves several heroes, several hero groups, several villains, several presidents of different countries and rulers of different countries. That's how you do it. As a matter of fact, the way that Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon, the best Avengers cartoon period, the best Marvel cartoon they've ever come up with, is right there with Spectacular Spider-Man. Right there with Wolverine and X-Men. I realize that X-Men's anime technically isn't the same, but still, really, really good. Because they planted the seed, starting with Captain America. After a big event ended, and we see Cap was actually a Skrull. I loved that it was sprinkled in, and even Doctor Doom said, one of the people you know is not who you think they are. Turned out to be Susan. That was crazy. And it was really, really well done. And the ramifications for that event went further. It just kept going. People didn't trust Cap because they thought Cap was a traitor, which kind of proves how stupid people are because they don't pay attention to anything. But really well done. So I get it. It can't be the same. Literally can't. Which Brian Michael Bendis, I have such a complicated feelings towards him because he's one of the co-creators of one of my favorite Spider-Man, if not my favorite Spider-Man, Miles Morales. He's also created Jessica Jones, although I argue the comic Jessica Jones, I like her way more than the Netflix show one. That's my opinion. But he's created such good stuff, and then Secret Invasion was good till the ending. The ending is where, since they need to release a giant bomb to kill most people, right? They put it. Janet Van Dyne had to absorb this bomb, and then she had to shrink herself so the explosion wouldn't be as bad. And I'm a big fan of the Wasp, especially in the comics. I hated it. And a lot of Bendis' comics tend to do that, especially when her and Hank had just kind of figured themselves out after decades of controversy. Just Bendis ruined the X-Men. I said what I said. But yeah, so there's going to be some stark differences. In here, first time we meet Nick Fury, or we see Nick Fury again, I love the shot of like him coming down because he looks like an alien, and he goes, and then you still look like an alien, and then it's him. He's walking with the limp. He got the old man beard, and obviously Saber, whoever is in this government thing, obviously they have spies, because someone was telling the bad guys, I wouldn't even worry about, was telling Garrick, wouldn't even worry about Fury. He can barely walk, and he can't see out of the good eye. Damn. And even one of Nick's old espionage buddies, the head of MI6, played, what is her name? She is from Broadchurch, and I feel so bad about forgetting her name. Pardon me. We're just going to do it live. No, I don't care about Olivia Colman, who's playing Sonya Falsworth. Old spy buddy with Nick. Looks like they might have a little bit of thing going on. But, you know, she's saying, you were up in space for so long. You kind of missed your step. And everyone knows it's after the blip because she said, the blip showed you, or she said Thanos showed you that there's always someone bigger, more dangerous that could just overthrow everything that you've done. Because Nick Fury is usually several steps ahead. He was trying to figure out what was in the containments that were stolen in Kazakhstan. She's like, yeah, well, if you don't know, you really shouldn't be doing this. But he's so good. He still knows when people are lying to him. He was able to put in a bug on her owl thing in there to make it, so he could hear what they were talking about before. I kind of feel bad for Nick. I do feel bad because he has a conversation with Maria Hill in a bar after they got their asses kicked. Just the person him and Talos were finding, who was the same person that Gaia was going to go get the bomb stuff from, because apparently she's not high up on here, but I suspect that she is probably gonna be Skrull Queen, right? She's probably the head of all this stuff anyway. That'll probably be revealed second to last episode, right? But after this fight with the guy who you think is just maybe a human person they got it from, no, it's a Skrull guy who took the place of this underground art dealer guy, Louis the 13th chair that Nick is sitting in, and all this other jazz. And Talos, whose human name's Keller, he has a fight with him, and Nick's like, "Are you good?" It was kind of funny because Nick has the gun. He's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Let me handle it." And he's fighting. He gets him, and he's like, "You betrayed us." And Talos is getting his butt whooped. Skrulls is superhuman, and Nick shots him, pops him twice. And he's like, "I told you I got it." Very tense, very, very tense. I get the feeling that Talos might not make it out of this series, but. Which, in this scene here, one of my favorite lines, Nick says, because the guy talked about having a wife, and his wife waited him. He's like, "Keller, that's not true, right?" And Keller tell him about the dude's wife is divorced. And Nick says, "That's a lie. Everybody gets one. You don't get two." And when dude tries to lie again, Nick is threatening him because everyone knows that Talos shows mercy. And Nick is trying to say, hey, you trying to defend something, you got to push that boundary, which sounds a lot like the old Nick Fury. But after this detour I've sent you on, he's in this bar, this Russian bar, with Maria Hill. And it's funny. He comes in, he speaks Russian. He's asking, the lady says, "You wait." And he looks at himself in the mirror, and some guy in Russian says, you can look all you want, but you're never going to see the man that you used to be. And he's like, "What did you say, comrade?" I'm like, ooh, is he going to fight him? He gets a drink order. He says, bourbon, some beers from a pint for a friend. By the way, something for my buddy over here, the guy that's talking trash. And he's like, vodka. He's like, cool. And Hill's just wondering, like, wow, you're making friends with the locals. He says, how do you think the Cold War remained cold? Get a couple of drinks from a spook and everything's okay. She's like, you can't say that. He's like, no, you can't say that. Love that. It was so natural. It was so natural. It's just so impactful that I'm pretty sure someone's going to bitch and moan about it. But funny to the point, and I enjoyed it. That was probably second or third best. Like, Samuel L. Jackson's great in this role. I was telling someone before that I really wish we would have got a S.H.I.E.L.D. movie before the Winter Soldier movie that had Nick Fury, Natasha Romanoff, Clint Barton, Mockingbird, maybe. I mean, if Clint's wife is actually the old Mockingbird, probably not. But a couple of other famous S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. And then you kind of go into, Hydra is probably leading them, maybe? Who knows? But I wish they would have gotten their time in the sun. But it is what it is. But yeah, even she says, apparently they have a rule that they don't lie to each other when they're playing chess. And she's telling him, you told me there's no shame in walking away. If your steps start to seem uncertain, back up. And she's like, you're on shaky ground and someone could die, right? And we do get a scene of Nick thinking back to the snap, the blip, where he's about to say, MF. And he's like, mother, and he's gone. He tells her he had a crisis of faith. He probably did have a crisis of faith, because it seems like no matter how hard he works to protect the world, not just America, the world, there's always someone else coming to attack. It's always someone bigger. But like he also told Talos, they had a little joke about Talos being 136, and he says that's not even close to your Earth age of 40. I haven't even gotten my midlife crisis gift. What did you get for yours? He said the Avengers. And that's the thing I think Nick should probably focus on, that even though he wasn't prepared for it, he had already laid the groundwork by, where's Iron Man? Iron Man's very bottom. By talking to Tony and getting things in motion and getting all these guys, those two, getting all them together, you more or less help set things in motion and keep the world, technically the universe now, safe. And I'm looking forward to this journey of Nick getting back to where he's feels like his old self, but he's, accepting what he can and cannot do. He was called by Sonya the old new Nick Fury, because he's old now, but it is what it is. Even when he said your thugs extraordinarily absconded with me, and she said, oh, extraordinarily, usually you guys are just adequate, but you scratch extraordinary. And she's saying you would have saw them people long time ago coming from a mile away. I did it so I can meet with you, which kind of feels mostly true, because he was told when he went to go for a walk, he was like, you are going to walk in Moscow at night. And even Sonya's like, large black man walking around Moscow at night. It could be, she said the ghost of, oh no, sorry guys. I may have messed up on trying to find this name. Ghost of Paul Robeson, which is kind of funny. I don't think anybody young is going to get that joke, or if you're not musically inclined, you probably won't get that joke, but look up Paul Robeson. But yeah, you feel for Nick, and I feel bad for Nick too, because the Skrull turned into him and then shot Maria after he's blowing up all this shit. And I do love that shock, right? Because Nick walking at night, he's gonna look at all these people and it's like, are you a Skrull? Are you a Skrull? Are you a Skrull? Like, I'm Nick Fury. You all know who I am, but who's a Skrull and who isn't? And it was this little girl, and her mom pulls her in. We see the same little girl at what's called the Unity Festival, and Nick follows her because she's eyeballing him, and it turned out to be Gavik. So I'm looking forward to more of this it's not pseudo, but more of this espionage. I really wonder if Gaia is the big head honcho already, or if she had lied to her dad, because she gave her dad the information. I'm looking forward to actually knowing or finding out who is in this group that knows about this, because we see Rhodey talking to the president, saying, I can't get in contact with Maria Hill. I can't get in contact with Nick Fury, who got off a Saber. They're both AWOL. Deal with it. Who knows how he's going to deal with it. I hope this leads into Rhodey getting that Armor Wars moving. So many things going on in Marvel. So much stuff getting pushed back. So just, it's not a bad time. It's an interest. Well, yeah, it could be a bad time, but it's an interesting time to say the least. I actually covered a lot of stuff in these notes that I didn't even pay attention to. Anything else in here? Yeah, Maria Hill could be a LMD. I really hope she's a LMD. That'd be kind of annoying. And I found myself just kind of being dumbfounded, like when she got shot. Like, So she's not the Skrull. Thinking the whole time you're the Skrull and you're not. Okay. Then who's leaking the information, right? What else was bothering me? Just Gaia being so teenagery, right? Gaia just, you ran away because you're angry, because you're upset. But then your dad's telling you, the people you work for killed your mom. What the hell are you doing? And maybe she did turn around and tell him that. She did tell him that they're expecting you, or he's expecting them. But was she in on the whole thing? Who knows? Got to find that out next week. All in all, this first episode wasn't bad at all. But for me personally, I wasn't, blown out of the water. But the acting, one thing you cannot take away is the acting is top notch. I didn't see anything bad with the special effects. I heard some rumblings, people complain about it. Whatever. But the acting, really well done. The dialogues don't make you roll your eyes, right? The heart to heart, the jokes, the pensive looks, all of it really works. I am going to give this a 4 out of 5. I'm enjoying it for right now. It's just certain stuff like why do they have to stay? They stay in human form longer for why? Does that make them remember memories long enough? Are they infiltrating the people's homes too? But if you're just infiltrating terrorists, why does it matter if you stay that long? It's right. Some of the stuff just seems kind of goofy. I do wonder if we're going to see someone else besides Rhodey. Something interesting that I just thought of now. Rhodey was in Captain America and the Avengers. I'm sorry, Captain America. Or should I say Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I'm trying to remember if he was in something else. I feel like he was in another show. Rhodey could be, I don't know, maybe the liaison to, get people back together. He could be not the new Tony, but something Tony-ish. Maybe he'll get his own group, as long as it's not Force Works. If you know. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. It's enjoyable. First episode title is called Resurrection, so it is kind of the resurrection of Nick Fury getting back in the field and trying to save basically the world. Once by making this look like an American terrorist attack, Russia will probably retaliate, especially if they're partially like Russia in the real world. So let me know what you think. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of more videos such as this one. Please be good, be blessed. Wash those hands. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves, all right? Remember, if you're ever feeling alone, reach out to somebody. Someone out there would rather talk to you today than miss you and mourn you tomorrow. All right? All right, guys. Well, I'm Shane. Thank you for taking some time out here. Anything that I have forgotten, what are you looking forward to in this series, right? Leave me a comment down below. I actually want to know what people are looking forward to seeing, because I don't know if we're going to get any other cool moments like in the comics where Mr. Fantastic his body was destabilized with a weird gun, or we see heroes being cut open and being revealed to actually being Skrulls. Kind of like that actually happened in the Captain Marvel movie when they were cutting open someone that looked like a president and it wasn't them, and it was Talos was pretending to be the boss. It's quite interesting. Personally, it's quite interesting. So I want to know where they're going to take with this, which way they're going to go. I'm looking at the actors. I'll probably talk about them much later, but stay tuned for me. I'm probably going to say something about what's going on with Jonathan Majors. Oh boy. But until next time, guys, I'm Shane. Excelsior.